Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I created this everyday simple makeup look using drugstore products, all of which are under $15 and most of them are under 10. Makeup is so fun but can definitely be an expensive hobby, so I did definitely want to incorporate some more affordable products today because I know when I first got started out I couldn't afford a lot of the things that I now tend to splurge on. So jumping right into the look, we of course always want to prime our skin. I'm using the e.l.f. Poreless Skin Primer. They have a few different ones, but I specifically chose the poreless one because I know that I've got pretty big pores and that's what I like to target. So I am blending that all over the face. And moving on to my brows using the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, which was only $5, and I'm super impressed with it because I find it quite comparable to some of the more expensive brow products I've tried at Sephora or Ulta. But I just use that to, use some gentle strokes and create brow hairs, which this pen worked great for, and the spoolie end of it was also really great for brushing my brows up. Next, I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal. I will link which shade this is in down below, but I'm using that on a really thin brush to just, clean up the shape of my brows. This concealer, excuse me, is about $5. I remember back in my day when these were like $2 or $3, but the demand brought that price up. But it's still pretty good for how quality of a concealer this is. And then I just blend that out with my fingers to start. It's the best way to kind of melt the product down. And then I will take a damp Real Technique sponge to blend out any excess lines there. Then I'm using Got To Be Glued spiking glue to set my brow hairs in place. If you've ever watched one of my videos before, you've definitely seen me use this. This is my go-to brow gel always, and it's for a great price. After that, I am moving on to color correcting with the e.l.f. color correcting stick. And just placing it on any dark spots like my under eyes or the acne scars that I have. And then I blend this out with my finger because I find that using a sponge or a brush takes away too much of the color, that red or orange color, which is what we actually need to block out the darkness. Then for my foundation, I'm using the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream. I was really excited to try this out. When you see me here applying it, it's honestly my first impression. And I really like how perfect of a color match this was and the really nice skin-like finish it had. At $14, it's the most expensive product used in this whole tutorial, and the only one going over 10 bucks. But that is an amazing price for a foundation, and I've seen a lot of beauty bloggers compare it to the IT Cosmetics CC cream, which is around $50. I haven't tried that one, but this looks great. Next, using another e.l.f. product, this time the Hydrating Camo Concealer, to complete my base. I ended up using a lot of e.l.f. products for the complexion because I heard such good things about them. But I am applying this under my eyes and of course in all the other high points of my face. I honestly underestimated how full coverage this concealer was, so if you plan on using it, I'd recommend using a bit less than I did. And before blending that, just doing a quick spritz with the Maybelline Lasting Fix Setting Spray. I find that doing that spray before blending just helps with getting more pigment and nicer blend on the concealer. And after blending with the brush, I find it always a good idea to go in with my sponge as well, just to make sure everything is blended thoroughly and get rid of any harsh lines. And then using a dry sponge, I am setting my under eye with Airspun Translucent Loose Face Powder. And while I'm letting that under eye powder set, I go ahead and start on my nose contour. I'm using another LA Girl concealer, this time just in a darker shade. And for an everyday look, I will use a much lighter and more neutral toned type of brown than I would for my contour on a more glam look. And here I am just dusting off that excess powder now that it's had a little second to sit while I was working on my nose. And now continuing back out with that LA Girl concealer shade that I'm using as my contour slash bronzing shade, I am just going around the perimeters of my face as well as along my jawline, and I'm blending that out. And when it comes to blending out the contour of my nose and bridge, using my finger is the best way to go. Any brush you use is probably going to be too thick and create quite a mess with the contour shade. And now moving on to highlighting, I'm starting with the Wet n Wild Hello Halo Liquid Highlighter, and I am just dotting some of that on to all of the high points where I'd like to apply my highlight, of course. I haven't seen very many liquid highlights like this by drugstore lines, so I was really excited to use this, and it does have a really pretty subtle but buildable finish to it. And packing on top of that liquid highlight, I'm going in with a powder one, which is the e.l.f. Baked Highlighter in Apricot Glow. I started out using my brush, but I found that I wasn't getting as much pigment as I liked, so I just went in with my finger and got a much better color payoff. And moving on to blush, I'm starting out with a cream blush, the e.l.f. Putty Blush. I'm just dabbing into that jar with my finger and dabbing it on my cheeks, as well as on the tip of my nose just a little. And similar to how I did with my highlight, I will be covering the cream blush with the powder one, this one being the NYX Baked Blush. And finally, I'm setting my base with that same Maybelline Lasting Fix that I used earlier. For mascara, I'm starting with the Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara, which this mascara is one of my all-time favorites among drugstore or high-end. And then I'm going over that with the e.l.f. Big Mood Mascara, and I love how both of these combined are cheaper than most high-end mascaras ever, but we're still getting a really pretty look. Then I take the NYX Wonder Pencil, just a lovely nude pencil that I love to make my eyes pop, and I place that all along my waterline. And right away you can really see how this makes my eyes just look more awake, and they just kind of have a glow to them after, so this is always one of my favorite parts of my look. Then I am lining my lips with the NYX Lip Liner Pencil in dark brown. These have an amazing formula, and they are pretty much the lip liners that I use on any look. And last but not least, I am taking the e.l.f. Lip Plumping Gloss and topping that over the liner to make a really pretty, simple lip combo. And we have the finished look. Thank you so much for watching and hanging around. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see more affordable looks like these.